Now, here's a shocking stat for you. Did you know that 1 in 5 UK baby boomers are now millionaires? Whilst at the same time, millennials face the worst wealth inequality in decades. Using explosive data from the ONS, the Resolution Foundation and UK Parliament, plus many more, this video exposes the shocking truth behind who holds wealth in Britain and why your birth year might be your biggest financial asset or liability. Discover how pensions, property and generational luck have created a 500k wealth gap between retirees and young adults. Plus, compare the data shared to see how well you're truly doing for your situation. This isn't just economics, it's a time bomb for society. So with this said, let's dive in. Now, you're probably going to say wealth is much more than just financial wealth, and I 100% agree with you. In my view, health, happiness, having a compelling purpose and having a strong support network also significantly contributes to your total life wealth. However, in this video, we're purely focusing on the financial aspects as this is tangible and what can be reported. Let's start with the brutal truth about wealth inequality in Britain. According to Nimblefins, the richest 10% of households hold £2 million or more in total wealth, whilst the poorest 10% have less than £5,000 to their name. This means that the wealthiest decile owns 397 times more than the poorest. Also, to put this into perspective, if the bottom 10% could barely afford a banged up used car, the top 10% could buy a mansion or potentially two depending on where you live. Here's how household wealth breaks down across all deciles in the UK. To be in the lowest 10%, you have £5,053 or less. The bottom 20% have up to £28,518. Then decile 3 is £71,135 or less. Decile 4, you have up to £142,271. Then at decile 5, you have up to £237,073. Decile 6 is then £347,347. Decile 7 is £481,079. Decile 8 is then £656,580. Decile 9 is £955,835. Then to be in the top 10%, you need just over £2 million. Now, as you can see, this isn't just about the super rich versus the destitute. Even the middle class sits miles behind the top. The median household wealth is less than 12% of what the top 10% owns. And this matters drastically as wealth isn't just about luxury, it's about security, opportunity and power. The bottom 10% struggle with emergency expenses whilst the top 10% build generational legacies through property, investments and inheritance. The distribution of wealth across different age groups in the UK reveals a startling picture of inequality. According to the most recent ONS data from April 2000 to March 2022, median household wealth follows a clear age progression. For 16 to 24-year-olds, this is £15,200. Then 25 to 34-year-olds, this is £109,800. Then for 35 to 44-year-olds, it's £209,600. Then for 45 to 54-year-olds, this is £301,900. Then 55 to 64-year-olds, it's much higher at £496,500. And then 65 to 74-year-olds see their wealth at £502,500. Then when you do get to 75 plus, it does start to drop down to £373,500. This represents a staggering 33-fold difference between the youngest and the wealthiest age groups. This wealth gap isn't just a matter of time and compound interest. UK Parliament research reveals that since 2008 financial crisis, the wealth gap between older and younger people has widened significantly. In April 2018 to March 2020, median wealth for people in their 60s was 55% higher in real terms than people in the same age group in 2006 to 2008, whilst median wealth for people in their 30s was 34% lower over the same period. Baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964 have accumulated wealth at an unprecedented rate. Financial Times analysis shows that their household wealth grew significantly between 2006 to 2016. Meanwhile, younger generations face diminishing prospects. Research from the Resolution Foundation shows that home ownership among 25 to 34-year-olds has dropped from 55% in 1990 to just 31% in 2022. Between April 2018 to March 2020 and April 2020 to March 2022, people aged between 65 to 74 experienced the largest increase in financial wealth, with the median financial wealth increasing by 3,400 compared to just 900 increase for people aged 25 to 34. Now, the wealth divergence isn't simply due to natural life cycle effects. Structural economic changes have fundamentally altered younger generations' ability to build wealth compared to their predecessors. Analysis does indicate that although pension savings among young people have grown significantly over time, younger generations are still likely to reach retirement with smaller pots on average than their predecessors. According to the ONS, wealth comprises of four main components, each contributing differently to overall inequality. Private pension wealth makes up 35% of the total household wealth. The average pension wealth by age per person shows dramatic progression. For 16 to 24-year-olds, it's around £5,500. Then 25 to 34-year-olds, it's 18,800. For 35 to 44-year-olds, it's 39,500. Then 45 to 54 is 80,000. 55 to 64 is around 137,800. 65 to 74 is 145,900. And then 75 plus is 59,700. These figures from Money Week's reporting on ONS data, January 2025, highlight how pension wealth accumulates over a working lifetime before being drawn down in retirement. Property wealth forms the largest component of total household wealth at 40% according to the ONS. The wealth gap between homeowners and renters is particularly striking. Homeowners have wealth levels 15 times greater than renters. Nimblefins reports that the average property wealth per adult increases with age also. For example, 20 to 24-year-olds, it's £14,583. Then 35 to 39, it's £62,222. 55 to 59 sit at 125,000, and then 65 plus is 177,500. This property wealth explosion for older generations reflects both longer ownership periods, but also the extraordinary house price growth of recent decades. Next, financial wealth, i.e. savings and investments, represents about 14% of total household wealth. According to Nimblefin's data from 2025, average financial wealth per adult by age is as follows. 20 to 24-year-olds have around £1,354 on average. 35 to 39-year-olds have £15,778. Then 55 to 59 have 40,850, and then 65 plus have 71,000. These dramatic differences do reflect both lifetime earning patterns and the compound growth of investments over time. The wealth gap between men and women also compounds over a lifetime, creating a stark divergence by retirement age, with men having on average £92,762 more than women. While the gender wealth gap is negligible amongst 25 to 34-year-olds, it grows to 28% for those between 35 and 44, and then reaches 42% by age 64. This reflects the cumulative effects of career breaks, part-time work, and the persistent gender pay gap that we see. By retirement age, pension inequality becomes particularly acute, with men's pension pots worth on average nearly double that of women. Wealth distribution varies dramatically by region, creating another dimension of inequality. According to the ONS data from April 2020 to March 2022, median household wealth was the highest in the Southeast at £489,800 and the lowest in the Northeast at £179,900. This regional disparity is illustrated clearly in this chart. This confirms that these regional differences have persisted over time, creating entrenched patterns of geographic inequality. This means that your financial prospects are significantly influenced not just by where you were born, but also where you live. Multiple factors explain why younger generations face such challenging wealth building prospects. First, we have housing market changes. Declining home ownership rates among younger people represent a significant barrier to wealth accumulation, as property has historically been a primary wealth building vehicle for most households. Next, we have pension transformations. Whilst auto enrolment has increased pension participation, the shift between defined benefit to defined contribution schemes has fundamentally altered retirement prospects for younger people. While younger people are contributing to their pensions, their expected retirement values are significantly below previous generations. Third, we have student debt and wage stagnation. Though not explicitly covered in our data sources, these factors combine with housing and pension challenges to create a perfect storm for younger generations. The extreme concentration of wealth has significant societal implications as these dramatically constrain life choices and opportunities for people. The UK Parliament's research briefing highlights that wealth inequality is measured using Gini coefficients, where 0 represents perfect equality and 1 represents maximum inequality. The Gini coefficient for total wealth in Great Britain was 0.59 in April 2020 to March 2022. Financial wealth was the most unequally distributed at 0.87. Followed by pension wealth at 0.68 and property wealth at 0.66. Then finally, physical wealth at 0.47. The data clearly shows that wealth in the UK is highly concentrated by age, with significant generational, gender, and regional disparities. And yes, while some wealth difference by age is expected due to natural life cycle effects, the growing gap suggests structural problems that may require policy interventions. For younger generations, you can still do something. Understanding these patterns can inform financial planning strategies, perhaps prioritizing pension contributions, exploring alternative paths to property ownership, or even just diversifying your investment approaches. Then for policymakers, addressing these disparities may involve things such as reforms to housing policy, pension systems, inheritance taxation, or even regional development strategies. Without intervention, these wealth gaps will likely continue to widen, creating even greater societal divisions. The wealth divide across ages isn't just a financial issue. It's a fundamental challenge to social cohesion and intergenerational fairness. As the UK navigates future economic uncertainties, especially right now, addressing these wealth disparities could become one of the defining policy challenges of our time. Now, if you want to grow your wealth, I'd recommend watching this video here that talks about how you can deploy the money strategies of the rich to help your money grow. If you're also looking to potentially grow your wealth through investments, I've also included a referral code to one of my favorite investment platforms in the description. Finally, if you've enjoyed this video, please also think about subscribing and commenting, as it really helps the channel to grow. Hopefully see you next time. Ta-ra.